Hello sir and hello classmates. We are the group 2 and we are here to discuss the classification of engineering services. This chapter is all about the description of the types of services that a civil engineer may be expected to provide a client. There are 7 categories of civil engineering services. Una, consultations, research, investigations, and report. Pangalawa, design services for construction projects. Pangatlo, construction services. Pang-apat, special services for construction projects. Panglima, engineering support services. Pang-anim, academic services. And panghuli, services as employee. Next is the types of infrastructure under the domain of civil engineering. This was amended under the Republic Act 544 or the Act to regulate the practice of civil engineering in the Philippines. This was approved on the 17th of July 1950. Itong act na to, siya yung nag-regulate ng services ng mga civil engineer dito sa Pilipinas. It may be in the form of consultation, design, preparation of plans, specifications, estimates, erection, installation, and pati na rin ng supervision ng construction ng mga types of infrastructure na babanggitin ko mamaya. Ito naman yung mga uri ng infrastructure na dapat i-supervise ng mga civil engineers. Una, yung fixed structures for irrigation, flood protection, drainage, water supply, and sewerage works. Atong mga infrastructure na to, sila yung in charge sa water control and water management. Sunod, buildings. Siyempre, kailangang i-supervise ng mga civil engineers yung pagtayo ng buildings para alam nating safe na gamitin. Airports and hangars. Sinabi nating hangars, sila yung parang storage ng mga aircraft. Doon inilalagay or pag hindi ginagamit, doon nakapark yung mga aircrafts. Sunod is the pathworks, canals, rivers, and shore improvements, lighthouses, and dry docks. Ito naman mga pictures na to is yung mga examples ng mga types of infrastructures na binanggit ko kanina. Yung una is yung sewerage works. Pangalawa is yung buildings. Yung pangatlo is yung hangars, yung sinasabi ko kaninang pinagpaparkingan ng mga aircrafts kapag hindi siya ginagamit. Pang-apat or yung panghuli is yung the dry docks. Dito naman nagpapark yung mga barko kapag kailangan nila magpark sa mga dry places. Ito pa yung mga other infrastructures na kailangan i-supervise ng mga civil engineer under the Republic Act number 544. Una yung streets, bridges, highways, and railroads things. So, makikita nyo, ito yung mga dinadaanan ng mga sasakyan, mga tao. Siyempre, kailangan supervise ng mga civil engineers yung pagbuo or pag-construct nito. Kasi, mabibigat na load yung kailangan dumaan dito. So, kailangan i-make sure na matibay at hindi siya babagsak kapag marami ng sasakyan na dumadaan. Sunod yung tunnels. Ito yung mga underground na dinadaanan din ng mga sasakyan or mostly mga trains. Dito naman tayo sa types ng civil engineering services. Una yung consultations, research, investigation, and reports. Siyempre, hindi lang naman construction services yung pinaprovide nating mga civil engineers. Pwede din tayong mag-provide ng consultations and various types of studies or investigation. Dito sa services na to, it will deal with collecting, interpreting, and reporting information. Pwede din tayong mag-formulate ng conclusion and magbigay ng recommendations sa ating mga client. Meron tayong 8 services na pinoprovide ng civil engineers under the consultations, research, investigations, and reports. Una na nga yung preliminary and feasibility investigation and report. Dito, nag-undergoes yung authorization of a capital project. So, may 4 siyang under topic. Una is yung operating costs or the operating expenses. These are the expenses that occurred during the regular operations of the project. Kagaya nga lang ng cost ng equipment, cost ng materials, cost ng labor, and any other cost na kailangan mong bayaran during the operation of the project or yung pag-construct ng project. Sunod is the life cycle costing or yung mga asset or expenses na kailangan mong i-consider during the lifespan of the project, kagaya ng initial investment, future additional investment, and an annually recurring cost. Sunod is yung financing considerations. Ito naman yung mga types of funding na kailangan natin i-consider para ma-sustain or ma-manage yung operation ng project. Sunod is the expected revenues. Ito naman yung mga in-expect nating kita galing doon sa mga projects na ginawa natin. Engineers can also provide extensive investigation and analysis of conditions. Una na nga yung impact ng project sa environment. Siyempre, we consider the environment. We made sure that every project the engineers made is environment friendly. Sunod naman, kailangan din i-consider na yung project is sustainable or it can exist in the long term. Lastly, they can provide comparison of possible plans. Siyempre, hindi lang naman isang plan yung pinaprovide ng mga civil engineers. They provide possible plans para may comparison or may pagpipilian yung mga clients. Naman is yung planning studies. These services include the broad areas of developing engineering requirements of master plans for long-range capital improvement programs. Also, they can provide preparation of preliminary engineering of land development kagaya ng urban plans and regional plans, and the investigation of environmental conditions and preparation of environmental impact studies. Kagaya ng kanina, they can provide the reports about the environmental impact of the project. Also, they can provide planning to improve or maintain existing conditions of the projects. Such planning, they require coordination of the work of engineering and other disciplines, kagaya ng architecture.
Appraisals, valuations, and rate studies. These services may include investigations and analysis of existing conditions, capital and operating costs, overhead costs, and cost of financing, and revenues as needed to evaluate a property or to recommend establishments of prospective rates. In appraisal, valuations, and rate study, kailangan alamin at pag-aralan mo yung mga expenses, lalo na kapag magpapatayo ng isang proyekto. Like sa overhead expenses are all costs on the income state except for direct labor, direct materials, and direct expenses, or lahat ng expenses para sa mga equipments. In another word, representing full payment. Assistance in financial matters. The civil engineer may be engaged by a client who is planning to issue bonds, particularly revenue bonds, to finance a capital project. The scope of services may include an evaluation of capabilities of existing or proposed facilities to meet present and projected future needs. statements of probable construction costs, and an estimate of annual revenue requirements with the determination of appropriate rates to revenue this income. Dito naman, as a civil engineer, marami talaga tayong ma-encounter na client. Example natin dito is municipal or city to improve projects such as building, roads, bridges, at iba pa. Sa revenue bonds, offer additional protections from the risk of municipal bankrupt. A successful bond issue is also about achieving the structural objectives of the financing initiatives para ma-provide yung pangangailangan at expenses ng isang proyekto. Materials engineering and equipment tests. These services include tests of materials and equipment under established codes and standards, specialized examinations of equipment and materials used in construction and industry, and other inspections and monitoring required by a client. Sinasabi dito na kinakailangan ng pagsuri sa kagamitan at materials na ginamit sa constructions. Dapat highest quality at nasa good condition na gagamitin. And also, most important, regular inspections ensure the safety of your workers. Direct personal services. This includes services such as assistance in preparation for legal proceedings, appearances before counts or commissions to render expert opinions and conclusions, and investigations of technical matters where specialized civil engineering knowledge, experience, and judgment is required. Kinakailangan na magsagawa ng service na ito ay nasa field ng civil engineer, which is may sapat na kaalaman for assistance, lalo na for legal proceedings. Research and development. Research is specialized investigations and gathering of data from existing resources or through laboratory works and processes related to the purpose of object of the research. Din sa research and development, napakalaga ng research para malaman mo yung mga dapat gawin tulad ng pagkuha ng data or resources para sa gagawing proyekto or to developing new services, products, or improving existing one. Tulad dito sa developing of research and development may be cover the following. Development of new construction materials and methods from concept to commercialization. Improvement of construction materials and methods through exhaustive studies to reduce total construction costs and at the same time improve quality. Tulad dito sa developing of construction materials, example natin dito is self-healing concrete. Could help buildings, bridges, and other structures to last longer without repairs or replacement. Isa pa example natin dyan is yung recycled materials like cardboard and even plastic bottles to create new buildings with smaller carbon footprints. At dito naman sa reduce the total construction cost, as with cost control, the most important decisions regarding the quality of the complete facilities are made during the designs and planning stage rather than during constructions. Special services. These services can vary to suit special needs of the client and can include such diverse activities as value engineering, appraisal and valuation, load testing, environmental evaluations, traffic engineering, forensic engineering for instructions and other failures, operational assistance, materials process design, pilot studies, computer modeling, safety engineering, topographic, sounding and boundary survey engineering, toxics and hazardous waste evaluations, permit and application services, sales and marketing services, expert witness, representations of municipal or private entities in projects proposed for privatization. In special services required during the study, design, construction, and operation of a construction project may include investigations, reports, and activities beyond the scope of the basic services, like in environmental evaluations or evaluation methods are used of estimate the value a particular environmental resource has to the people who may be affected by its loss or may be attracted to a property by its environmental characters, like in value engineering, is used to solve problems, identify and eliminate unwanted costs, and improve functions and quality.
Design services for construction projects. In the planning of facilities, it is important to recognize the close relationship between design and construction, where construction is the implementation of a design and vision by architects and engineers. So as you can see, nakalagay dito na importante ang close relationship sa pagitan ng design at construction na siyang ating mga architects at engineers. Sa field kasi ng dalawang to, sa pagbuo ng construction projects, hindi mabubuo ang proyekto ng architect kung walang pirma ng engineer at ganoon din naman sa engineer, hindi matatapos ang construction project kapag walang idea sa pag-design ang architect. So ang focus ng konseptong ito ay binubuo ng guidelines sa pagbuo ng construction project. In both design and construction, numerous operational tasks must be performed, with a variety of precedents and other relationships among the different tasks. So in order to perform the task, there are 6 standard phases of a construction project and the engineering services needed for each are. So first we have study and report phase. This phase involves determination of project scope and economic and technical evaluation of feasible alternatives. So unang stage na to, kailangan malaman at pag-aralan muna natin ang scope or magiging range ng ating proyekto, maging ang pagiging economic viable nito sa isang komunidad, pati na rin ang pangangalat ng mga alternatibong paraan upang mabuo ang construction project. Analysis of the client's needs, conceptual design, conceptual opinions, and probable construction costs. Ito ay pag-aanalisa ng mga bagay na maaaring makatulong sa pagbuo ng proyekto, gaya ng conceptual opinions at design, lalong-lalo na ang construction cost. Para ma-meet ang needs ng ating kliyente, bubuo na tayo dito ng cost versus the budget. So all in all, sa stage na to, kinakailangan ng mabusising pag-aaral upang malaman ang mga alternatibong paraan na dapat maisagawa until the final phase. The second one is preliminary design phase. This phase involves the establishment of the general size and scope of the project and its location on the selected site. Sa stage na to, ang pre-design na tinatawag ay maaari na nating simulan. Ang mga nakalat natin na datos mula sa pag-aaral sa unang stage ay maaari nang magamit at maaari nang maisagawa para sa ating proposed pre-design. At this point, nalaman na natin yung sakop at lawak ng gagawa natin ng plano o yung pinaka-floor plan. Preparation of final design criteria, preliminary drawings, outline specifications, estimated construction, opinions of probable costs. Sa konseptong ito, base sa datos, magkakaroon na tayo ng conclusion at rekomendasyon na siyang ating pagtutuunan ng pansin dahil kailangan na natin maihanda ang pinaka-final design, pinaka-outline at lalo na ang estimated cost sa pagbuo ng proyekto. So ang architects at engineers, maging ang kliyente ay magpupulong para sa pag-aaproba ng mga bagay gaya na lamang ng final design, periodic status reports, at ang revised estimates of total project cost. So let's move on to the final design phase. This phase of project development is usually undertaken only after the client has approved the preliminary design phase material. So at this stage, magkakaroon lamang ng development ang ating project kung ang preliminary design phase material ay maaaprubahan ng ating kliyente. So during the final stage, the detailed architectural and engineering drawings of all physical components of the project are produced. Kinakailangan ng sapat at tamang detalye para maging accurate ang mga estimated costs as well as the construction scheduling. Preparation of design calculations, construction drawings, specifications, estimated construction costs, and other conduct documents. Sa pagkakataong ito, kailangan natin iprepara ang lahat ng mga bagay gaya ng design calculations, drawings, estimated costs, lalo na ang documents. Lahat dapat ng mga kakailanganin ay kumpleto upang sa ganon ay hindi na magkaroon pa ng revisions. Dahil based on my research, final design is the most expensive of the planning processes. It must be pointed out that any changes at this stage are most costly. So tayo bilang future engineer, kailangan natin maging maingat sa pagbuo ng konseptong ito. Importante na ilahad natin ang detalyado impormasyon at ibigay ang ating kompletong atensyon sa stage na to.
Bidding or negotiating phase. Let's start with bidding. In civil engineering, construction bidding is the process of submitting a proposal to undertake or manage the undertaking of a construction project. The process starts with cost estimate of blueprints and materials take-off. Sa madaling salita, ang construction bidding pala ay isang paraan ng pagsuyo o panliligaw sa kliyente na kung saan ay gagawin mo ang lahat ng iyong makakaya upang ma-impress o mapukaw mo ang atensyon ng iyong kliyente. Gaya na lamang ng pagpapakita ng mabisa at magandang plano kasabay ng mababang presyo, partikular sa mga paggawain ng gobyerno, maging sa kalsada o infrastruktura ay dumadaan sa proseso ng bidding. Next is negotiating. Negotiation is a method by which people settle differences. It is a process by which compromise or agreement is reached while avoiding argument and dispute. Bilang isang civil engineer, tungkulin mo na maging maganda at maayos ang kalalabasan ng iyong proyekto. Kung kaya't ang pakikipagnegosasyon o pakikipagkasundo sa iyong kliyente ay isang napakahalagang responsibilidad na kailangan mong maisagawa sa isang payapa at malinis na paraan bilang isang taong propesyonal. There are many services under this space. Let me explain na lang in Tagalog para mas lalo niyong maintindihan. Ang sabi, bilang isang bidder ay kailangan mo din daw i-assist ang kliyente mo sa mga dapat nitong gawin. Gaya ng paghahanda sa mga bidding documents na isa sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan sa isang bidding. Pagpapaintindi o pagpapaliwanag kung ano ang kapupuntahan ng prosesong ito. Paggabay sa mga kwalifikasyon na dapat ay meron o ma-meet ng contractors, subcontractors at mga supplier ng materyales. At paggabay na rin sa kliyente para sa iba pang problema na maaari nilang kaharapin. Dagdag pa dito ay dapat simula umpisa pa lang ng pagbubukas ng bidding ay dapat kasama ka na. Hindi yung kung kailan mo lang gustong pumunta ay tsaka ka lang pupunta. Parang pinakita mo na din kasi na wala kang interes sa proyektong nililigawan mo. Kailangan ay kasama ka ng kliyente simula umpisa sa pagpepresenta ng iyong proposal hanggang sa mai-award na sa iyo ang project of construction, materials at equipment services na nagpapakita na talagang willing ka sa project na yon. Let's move on construction phase. Under ng construction phase ay dapat daw ay may alam pa din ang kliyente sa mga nangyayari at sinasabihan pa din sila kung ano ba ang lagay ng proyekto. Sa matuling sabi, dapat updated pa din si client kahit na ongoing na ang construction ng project. Karamihan pa nga sa mga civil engineers ay binabaliwala lang ang ganitong bagay na dapat naman talaga ay isa sa kanilang mga responsibilidad. Habang nasa construction phase, ay marapat lamang na palagi ang suriin ang mga sumusunod, gaya ng compliance with design concepts, shop, submitted erection drawing, laboratory shop, and mill test report on materials and equipments, na kung saan ay napakahalaga dahil dito nakasalalay ang ikatutupad ng proyekto. Kasama na din dito ang mga regular na pagbisita sa construction site upang masiguro ang kaligtasan ng mga tao at aktwal na lagay ng proyekto. Isa pa nga sa mga serbisyo na dapat mong gawin ay ang pagbibigay ng service sa mga full-time residents para mas mapag-ibayo ang pagganap o pagpunan sa mga pangangailangan sa site. Marapat din na mayroong koordinasyon sa pagitan ni client at kontraktor para kung mayroong gustong ipabago si client ay madali na lang matugunan. Dapat din na regular ang pag-inspeksyon at pag-test sa proyekto para kung may rekomendasyon man sa pagitan ni kontraktor at client ay mas madali na lang din matugunan. Marapat din na ipaalam kay client kung ilang porsyento na ba ng proyekto ang tatapos para magkaroon ka din ng dahilan upang ipaalala ang pagbabayad niya. Marapat din na bago matapos ang project ay kailangan ng maisettle ni client ang lahat ng bayarin at magsagawa ng mga final test upang di na magkaroon pa ng problema at ihanda ang mga drawing records mula sa information na galing kay contractor para maisettle na lahat ng kailangan. Now, the operation phase. On this phase, si civil engineer ay marapat lamang na maihanda ang lahat ng requirements na kailangan sa operation, gaya ng prepare manual for both operation and maintenance requirements, balancing equipments, at kumpletong pag-inspeksyon mula umpisa hanggang sa matapos ang project. On operation phase, dito na papasok ang construction life cycle na binubuo ng 5 stage. Ito ay ang initiation, planning, implementation and execution, performance and monitoring, at ang closing. Punta tayo sa initiation. Initiation is usually start by evaluating the work ahead and feasibility test. Ang feasibility test ang magdedetermine kung magiging successful ba ang project o hindi. Dito, di ka pwedeng gumawa ng desisyon ng mag-isa mo lang. Dapat ay i-consult mo din ang team mo para ang final recommendation ay mas angkop. Next is planning. Planning is the key to the successful management of a single location or multi-location project. Sa puntong ito ng construction life cycle, ang iyong team ay dapat natukoy na ang sakop at lawak ng inyong proyekto nang makapaglatag na ng roadmap para matukoy kung saan may malapit na mga pagkukunan ng resources at kung paano makakapag-produce nito. Dito papasok ang inyong pagiging smart o specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. At panghuli, kayo dapat ay clear o collaborative, limited in scope, emotional, appreciable, and refinable. Punta naman tayo sa implementation and execution. Dito, karamihan sa oras mo ay dapat nakatuon. Ang project plan should be put into practice. Dapat mayroon kayong effective communication during execution. Dapat yung budget na nakalaan ay nasusunod. Masasabi mo daw na successful ang implementation kapag mayroon kang well-developed team, good allocation of resources, implementation of project management plan, at tracking system in place. Pang-apat ay ang performance and monitoring. Sa parting ito, dapat ito ay nasusunod kasabay ng implementation process. Every item should align in with the project schedule. Dapat lahat ng commercial construction process mula umpisa hanggang dulo ay akma sa project management plan. Last ay ang closing, the final step. Mahalaga ito sapagkat ito ang pinakahihintay ng client. Bago mo i-terminate ang kontrata sa lahat ng mga suppliers mo, mahalagang balikan o i-review ang kontrata nang sa gayon ay makita mo kung may nilabag ba ang supplier sa inyong kasunduan. Dito din ay pwede kang magsagawa ng pag-aaral sa mga natutunan mo o sa mga bagay na kailangan nyo pang i-improve sa mga susunod nyo pang project.
Good morning, classmate. I am Shaira Centeno, and I'm going to report about the construction services. Construction services. A civil engineer can work as a contractor. However, it is true only after the civil engineer is licensed as a contractor by Philippine Constructors Accreditations Board or PCAB. In Sections 23 of Republic Act 544, state that the only registered civil engineers can take the charge of supervised constructions or alterations of any building or its structure and other engineering works. Republic Act 4566, Constructors License Law, provides that no contractor, including subcontractor and specialty contractor, shall engage in the business of contracting without first having secured a PCAB license to conduct business. It is an offense to engage in contracting business without a license first being obtained. Also, pinaliliwanag lang po dito na kailangan po ng isang engineer ng constructor's license bago siya mag-conduct ng isang business. And in Section 23 of Republic Act 44 that civil engineer can take a charge of supervised constructions or alterations of any building. So meaning nun, yung isang registered civil engineering ay pwede na mag-conduct ng isang business kung meron siyang constructor license. So we have different types of constructor's license. The one is regular license, issued to a domestic construction firm, a sole partnership, corporations with at least 60% Filipino equity. And the one is special license, issued to a joint venture, a consortium, a foreign contractor, or a project owner who authorized the license to engage only in the constructions or a single specific project undertaking business. So, sa regular license daw, pinaliwanag lang dito yung partnership with at least 60% Filipino equity. So, siguro it is locally here in our country, and special license it is para sa international, for international purposes. Authorized managing officers. The qualifications to be an authorized managing officers or AMO, senior executive of a company with at least 2 years experience in implementing a construction project in a managerial or supervisor's capacity, and nominated by the firm and possessing managerial powers. So, ito yung mga qualifications para maging isang authorized managing officers. Next slide. Sustaining technical employee. A sustaining technical employee is a licensed technical professional with at least 3 years experience. The STI forms the backbone of the contractor and represents the technical qualifications required for a PCAB license, as well as the license qualifications. STIs also play a major part in determining the license category. Every contractor shall have at least one sustaining technical employee who has undergone the 40 hours constructions occupational safety and health, or the COSH, course for site safety officers as a conditions for license renewal or new license applications. As a sustaining technical employee, STIs have at least 3 years experience of constructions, implementations, and knowledge of Philippines constructions building codes, and ordinances, labor safety codes, and other laws applicable to constructions operation. Here are the brief explanations about the construction services. A registered civil engineer may engage in contracting after being licensed as a contractor by a contractor's accreditations board. That is the Philippine Accreditations Board of PCAB. A registered civil engineer may provide the services of a supporting technical employee as required of a construction company. The third one is, a registered civil engineer may be employed as a construction engineer, resident civil engineer, project engineer, quality control engineer, cost engineer, or engineer inspector in some projects. The last one is, only a registered civil engineer can take charge of any structures mentioned above in Section 2, RA 544. Syempre, hindi ka pwedeng mag-take ng business if you are not a registered civil engineer. Nakasad po yun dun sa Section 2, RA 544. And in in Republic Act 4566, you need to have a construction license before going to conduct a business. And that is all about the construction services, and we need to produce in special services for constructions project. Special services for constructions projects. Special services required during the study, design, constructions, and operations phases of a construction project may include investigations, report, and activity beyond the scope of the basic services. Our special construction services is focused on capital improvement projects that necessitate quality workmanship, superb project management, and timely completions. Here are some examples of may include tenant fit-outs, ADA renovations, repurposing spaces, office renovations, branch remodeling, or technology and communications upgrade. So, pinaliliwanag lang dito yung sa special services construction project. For example, natapos na nila yung isang project and may mga special services silang ginagawa kagaya ng halimbawa po yung renovations, yung repurposing spaces, yung remodeling, ganyan pa. And in addition to considering the safety of individuals on the sites, they are also sensitive to the needs of the customers, employees, residents, guests, patients, and any other persons in the area. In special services construction projects, ito po yung mga ginagawa nila. Geotechnical engineering, special studies, engineering surveys, test and process determinations, valuing engineering, redesign, inspections of materials, providing additional copies of reports, assessments of completed projects' abilities to meet its design's intent, final investigations, preparations of environmental assessment, assisting the client in choosing the workers, and the last is client's expert witness in litigations in connections with the project. So in a brief explanations about the special services of constructions projects. Ito yung parang pina-finalize nila yung mga dapat nilang gawin, like yung provide sila ng additional copies of report for the clients and final investigations. Parang pinapaalam nila dun sa sa kanilang client na yung mga ginawa nila. Ganun. And nagpo-provide din sila ng may special services din sila na sa construction project na nire-renovate nila, inaayos nila yung ginawa nila, mas lalo pa nilang pinapaganda, binibigyan ng bagong opportunity yung building na ginawa, and mas pinagaganda pa para dun sa ikabubuti ng building and para din po dun sa client. Nagagawa din sila ng special studies, ng survey kung paano nila mas mapapaganda yung isang project. And that's all po, and thank you.
Engineering support services. The professional services described above often require engineering support services. Geotechnical engineering, for example, frequently requires services such as taking soil and rock borings, excavating test pits, sampling and identifying soil and earth materials, fields and laboratory tests, and geophysical measurements and observations. The engineering support services in general, civil engineering practice may involve drafting land and construction surveying and other data gathering activities for specialized purposes. Although persons who are not civil engineers sometimes accomplish some of these tasks, the procurement of adequate and correct data usually requires professional civil engineering judgment and guidance, since soundness of any engineering decision is dependent upon the accuracy and suitability of data obtained in field and laboratory investigations. These supporting services must be under the guidance of the civil engineer whose decision will be based upon those data. So, halimbawa daw, yung geotechnical engineering. Hindi naman siya yung lahat yung gumagawa nun. Kailangan niya rin ng support. Halimbawa sa pagkuha ng soil. Kung yung pagtatayuan is pwede, di ba yun yung trabaho ng geotechnical engineer? To check the earth and ground, or the ground. Pero hindi naman mismo yung geotechnical engineering yung kukuha nun. Halimbawa sa pagkuha ng sample. So, may ibang kukuha, but syempre, yung support na tinatawag, dapat may alam din dun sa field na ginagawa ng engineer. Kaya di sila pwedeng tawagin professional kasi license lang yung tinatawag na professional. Dapat may alam din sila. Syempre, di naman pwedeng basta na lang kumuha ng lupa. Dapat related din. So, example nga nun, yung geotechnical. So, ganun din sa civil engineering. Kaya lang, may mga tao na kaya yon gawin. Yun. Although, who are not civil engineers sometimes accomplish some of these tasks. Yung halimbawa yun sa pagdodrawing. Di ba may mga tao naman kayang mag-drawing, kaya ding mag-survey ng land and construction, tas mag-gather ng mga data. Tas related sa gawain ng mga civil engineers. Pero kailangan pa rin nila mag-under sa supervision ng mga civil engineers kasi kailangan pa rin ng judgment ng mga professionals. Tas may mga pinag-aralan na dun sa field na yon. Kaya kahit marunong ka mag-survey, mag-drawing, kaya mo rin mag-gather ng data related dun, kailangan mo pa rin mag-supervision ng civil engineers. Kasi halimbawa sa pagdodrawing, kunwari, pinadrawing mo lang yon. Yung nag-drawing nun, kahit sabihin nating alam niyang mag-drawing, di ba kasi may pinag-aaralan tayong mga sukat-sukat. So, kailangan pa rin ng judgment ng professionals. So, kailangan pa rin umandar sa civil engineers kasi, halimbawa, kung dun lang magbe-base sa drawing na yon at itinayo yun ng walang supervision ng totoong civil engineer, more or less babagsak. Iba kasi, di naman talaga siya civil engineer. Kaya sabi, kunwari, kung magtatayo at magbe-base dun sa data na yon na di na supervise ng civil engineer, ang hirap naman magtiwala sa ganun. So, dapat, under pa rin sila ng civil engineers kasi iba pa rin yung mga professional.
Academic services. These services involve full or part-time teaching or training of prospective professionals and also the upgrading of knowledge and skills of fellow professionals. So, in terms naman ng academic services, sabi, kunwari yung mga teachers natin, puro sila civil engineers. Sabi dun, pwede daw full na magturo ka na in terms of academic or mag-part-time ka lang. Yun yung kunwari, nag-stay ka pa rin sa field, tas nagtuturo ka rin. Or pwede ka rin mag-train ng mga gusto ring mag-civil engineer. And also, the upgrading of skills and the professionals. Siguro yung tinutukoy dito is yung magiging speaker ka sa isang seminar to upgrade knowledge and skills sa kapwa nating engineers pag naging civil engineers na tayo. Academic services may include teaching of civil engineering courses in engineering colleges or universities on part or full-time basis as per Republic Act 8981. All subjects for licensure examinations shall be taught by persons who are holders of valid certificates of registration or professional licenses and professional identification cards or special temporary permits or a valid certificate of competency for the profession issued by the commission and who comply with the other requirements of the child. So, gaya nga ng general na meaning, pwede ka daw lumipat in academic services, pwedeng full-time or part-time lang. So, katulad ng mga teachers natin. Yung iba, engaged na sa academic, nagtuturo na lang sila but still yung lisensya nila nasa kanila. So, as per Republic Act 8981, nakasulat doon na lahat na nag-aaral ng licensure examination, dapat yung magturo sa kanila, dapat yung professional din, yung lisensyado, kaya pwede din yung certificate holder, they are allowed or may permission na para magturo. Pwede daw yung temporary permits o yung pinayagan lang kahit di sila lisensyado basta meron silang permiso o yung mga permits o valid certificate of competency, pwede yun na ibinigay ng CHED. So, kaya daw yung mga nag-comply sa mga requirements na ibinigay ng CHED, so yun lang daw yung pwedeng magturo pagka nagre-review ng licensure exam. Kailangan may hawak silang lisensya o permiso para turuan yung mga nag-aaral for licensure examinations. Hindi sila pwedeng turuan ng mga, halimbawa, yung mga nag-teacher na nag-major sa math. Halimbawa, tayo nagre-review na tayo for licensure examination. Hindi tayo pwedeng turuan ng mga teacher na nag-major lang sa math. Ibig sabihin, yung kailangan magturo sa atin, yung lisensyadong civil engineer, yun yung naka-under sa Republic Act 8981. So, susunod yung lecturing in civil engineering courses designed by the Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers for practicing engineers who want to obtain CPD credits. So, dito naman, yung dinidiscuss din sa mga nag-aaral ng civil engineer is nanggagaling sa Philippine Institute of Civil Engineers or PICE PICE na tinatawag. Para rin daw dun sa mga gustong kumuha ng credits ng CPD. Ano nga ba yung CPD? Ito yung Continuing Professional Development. So, kung sino yung gustong kumuha nun, kailangan nila makinig sa lectures na ibinibigay ng PICE. Susunod, conducting tutorials, refreshers, courses on civil engineering concepts and related subjects. So, academic term, we can conduct tutorials, refresher courses on civil engineering concept and related subjects. So, pwede tayong mag-conduct ng tutorials para din sa halimbawa, professional na tayo. Pwede na tayo mag-conduct ng tutorials. So, ngayon, may ibang way. YouTube, mga ganon. Pero, kung license na. So, yung susunod, serving as a resource speaker in technical session. Parang in general naman na lahat, pwede kang magturo, pwede ka ring maging resource speaker in technical session. So, yung sunod is writing technical articles and pamphlets. So, dito, pwede ka nang mag-share ng ideas, gumawa ng mga articles at mga pamphlets. And, in academic term, and if licensed ka na nga. So, services as employee. This is a condition when a civil engineer engages to perform work or fulfill duties regularly for wages or salary being paid by an employer. So, dito. So, in terms of in terms of services as employee, yun daw yung nagpe-perform ng function niya o ng work niya under an employee na binabayaran siya ng regular na wages o salary. So, tumatanggap siya ng regular na sahod. Yun yung services as employee. Civil engineer may be employed for any commercial or institutional organization where he is performing civil engineering functions. He is required to follow the codes of ethics for civil engineers and comply with the standards and guidelines of this manual. A licensed civil engineer may not allow his license to be used by the company that employs him without the proper agreement for his professional services. Where the firm he is working for uses his license to sign and seal the plan, specification, and contract documents, the civil engineer must charge the professional fee for the said services. So, pwede na daw pumasok any position yung civil engineer. Kung mag-a-apply ka, kung di ka magtatayo ng sariling firm o self-employed, so magiging under ka, pwedeng kahit anong position basta related dun sa professionalism mo at yung pagiging civil engineer mo. So, sabi, civil engineer may not allow his license to be used by the company that employs him. So, ibig sabihin, pwede kasing iba yung function ng license natin pag lisensyado ka as in professional ka na. Siguro, pwedeng consultant ka lang, word-word, ganun. Pero pag ginamit na ng kumpanya yung lisensya mo, kasi yung lisensya mo, pwede ka nang pumirma ng kontrata, pwede mo nang pirmahan yung floor plan. Halimbawa, sa isang kumpanya. Kasi kapag nagpatayo, diba, syempre, kailangan ng floor plan. Ngayon, yung floor plan na yon, di tatanggapin kung walang sign ng civil engineer. Of course, yung registered kailangan lisensyado ka kasi di ka naman pwedeng pumirma doon kapag daw ginamit ng kumpanya yung lisensya mo na yon para mag-seal ng halimbawa mga documents, mga ganun, nag-sign ka, kailangan bayaran ka ng employer mo. Kailangan may professional fee yung ganong service. Kung wala kayong maayos na usapan o kontrata na yung lisensya ko bukod na kapag ginamit nyo, babayaran nyo to. Kung wala kayong kontratang ganon yung mangyayari. Na kapag ginamit na nilang pampirma yung lisensya mo, pag ginamit na nila yung pagiging professional mo, kailangan ka nilang bayaran. So, halimbawa naman na ito ng pipirma mong kontrata, nakasulat dito na kailangan mong mag-approve ng mga documents. So, wala ka ng professional fee doon kasi kasama na yun sa wages mo kada buwan. Kung ano man yung yung usapan na pagsahod mo kasi yun yung pinirmahan mo, yun yung pinag-usapan nyo ng employer mo. Pero kung walang ganong kontrata at ginamit na nila yung pagiging professional mo, yung lisensya mo, yun nga yung mag-seal ng document at pumirma ka, kailangan ka nilang bayaran maliban pa sa sahod mo yun kada buwan. So next, civil engineer in part-time employment with a firm is considered to be an employee at the same time consultant of the firm. The standard for an employee and an individual consultant as defined in this manual apply to this civil engineer. So, kahit daw part-time yun, kahit daw employed ka, considered ka pa rin as employee. So, under pa rin. So, masahod ka pa rin, may wages ka pa rin, or salary. Kahit part-time yun, services as employee pa rin yun. So next, any civil engineer employed as an individual consultant of any firm, whether the firm is performing engineering, commercial, administrative, management, or financial services, is required to comply with the requirements and standards herein established for an consulting civil engineer. So, kung consultant engineer ka man, individual consultant ka man sa isang firm o kahit saan mang firm, kung sa field as consultant or in document, ibig sabihin yung dadaling ka sa mismong site, tapos tatanungin ka, i-consult sa'yo yung mismong site. Meron din naman yung sa documents lang, yung gagawin kang consultant tungkol doon. Kaya required sila mag-comply para ma-meet yung standard as a consultant civil engineers. So next, all government civil engineers employed by the instrumentalities of the government, national and local, shall be governed by pertinent existing laws and regularities, and particularly to those prescribed by Civil Service Commission. In case of any conflict with any of the provisions of this manual practice, such pertinent laws and regulations shall take precedence and shall govern. So, dito, kung ma-under ka ng government, kailangan masunod ng government yung laws, yung existing laws and regularities para sa mga employees nila. Lalo na yung mga prescribed ng Civil Service Commission kasi yung Civil Service Commission is tungkol talaga sila sa trabaho. Ang trabaho nila, mahanapan ng trabaho yung mga Pilipino. Isa siyang constitution ng Pilipinas. So, yung prescribed nilang regularities, kailangan mas masunod. Why? Kasi yung task ng Civil Service Commission is mabantayan yung integridad ng gobyerno. Now, kung magkakaroon man ng conflict dun sa manual of practice, meron syempre, yun nga existing laws na pag nalabag yung regulation, kailangan prioridad na masunod yun. Yun yung dapat una nilang step kung may gagawin silang project, kailangan yung existing laws and regularities nun. Yun muna yung masunod nila. Di nila pwedeng labagin yun. So, yun lang po.